to order the regularly scheduled Plan Commission meeting for the Village of Tinley Park. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll move on to the roll call. Lori, if you can take the roll call.
Commissioner Gaskell,
Present.
Commissioner Gatto, Commissioner Lasciuto,
Here.
Commissioner Manny, Commissioner Merrick,
Here.
Commissioner Shaw,
Present.
Commissioner Truxell,
Present.
Chairman Gray.
Present. Okay, a quorum is present. We'll move on to communications. Staff, are there any communications at this time?
Just that a few members of the RJ Seafood team that's here is on the line calling in today because of the snowstorm. So when we get to that portion, we can identify them if anyone wants to speak. And anyone on the line, if you can mute your phones so that way we're not getting feedback here, and just unmute it when you're called upon. That's it for communications.
Okay. Moving on to approval of the minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the February 3rd, 2022 regularly scheduled Plan Commission meeting?
So moved.
Second.
I heard, motion made by Commissioner Lasciuto, seconded by Commissioner Shaw. All those in favor of approving the February 3rd, 2022 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. We'll move on to item number one. Number one is a combined workshop and public hearing to consider recommending that the village board grant Scott Bahey on behalf of Volvo Trucks N.A. a special use permit for a technical education facility at 8201 183rd Avenue, Suite G, in the M-1 PUD General Manufacturing Tinley Crossings zoning district. Staff, if you can proceed with your presentation at this time.
Thank you. The location of the proposed special use for Volvo and Mack Trucks training facility is shown here on the aerial, somewhat southwest of 80th Avenue and 183rd Street. And it is a multi-tenant building, fairly large, over 84,000 square feet. It's part of the Tinley Crossings Corporate Center PUD, which was annexed into the village in 1999. And to the right is an image of what you would see as the front facing the east side of the building. So the property is in the PUD, which has underlying M1 zoning district. And, you know, as I said, it is a multi-tenant building in a large PUD development that was intended as, in addition to corporate uses, sort of industrial park. So the building itself has other tenants that are listed in the staff report, and I've included here on the slide. Carries Heating and Cooling, Sound Grower Brewing, South Shore Roofing, and a few other office-related types of uses. So the zoning entitlement sought is for a special use permit. The use is not specifically addressed in the PUD. The use is classified as a technical educational facility. And in the M1 zoning district, this is triggered as a special use. The use chart table that you see in the bottom shows the instances where, you know, what it is permitted. So in this use, it requires this particular public hearing process approval. The special use is for the operation as proposed, does not run with the land. I'll read the definition of a technical educational facility for the benefit of everyone here at the meeting. It is defined as schools established to provide for by the teaching of industrial or transportation skills in which machinery is employed as a means of instructions. Truck driving school, trade school. This definition applies to schools that are owned and operated privately for profit and do not offer complete educational curriculum. Such a facility has a high-impact land use and is similar to a light or heavy industrial use. The M1 zoning district is intended to provide for those industrial activities that have moderate environmental effects, and are located in areas relatively removed from residential and prime retail development. The technical educational facility is the closest definition that we have existing in the zoning code. So for the proposed use, they have a number of facilities nationwide, training for trucks, for Volvo and Mack dealerships. They are relocating from their facility in Joliet, and the desired space is 14,000 square feet. The business use will have 2 full-time employees, conduct weekly classes, and have quarterly regional meetings. The anticipated staff, hours of operation, they're standard Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5. The classes are within that, 8:30 to 4. The load of the classes are 2 different classes per week. Each class is 2 days, and those classes are a total of 6 to 12 trainees that are broken out into 2 sets. And the attendees are only registered and paid attendees that are sent by the dealerships. This is not for the public. They will not advertise for any open public events. And then here's a floor plan indicating how the proposed use is laid out in the tenant space. You can see there are 3 entrances. So north is up. The main entry is at the northeast, the upper right corner. There's a secondary entrance further south. This facade runs parallel to the primary drive aisle, and then this space is located in the corner of this larger L-shaped building, and the rear of the building is in that southwest corner. And so there's an overhead door and a man door that go along with there. The nature of their use is to have a classroom type of format with some hands-on training, but importantly, they will meet the performance standards that are set in the zoning code for M1 zoning district. So this covers things like glare, noise, vibration, other environmental hazards. And they will not do test driving of vehicles. And so this is just showing again the access points, and you can see the way that the site is laid out. Importantly, they're not proposing to change anything with the site, so no site plan or architecture or landscape or lighting changes. They will intend to provide a signage. They're looking at one wall sign with a tenant panel. There's a monument sign, multi-tenant, up near 183rd Street. The signage has not been received yet, but the applicant understands that it will be required to meet the sign code. And the only other points that I can really make that are relevant to the impact of their use outside of their space is that their parking, they've worked with the landlord, and in their lease, the landlord has specified 25 parking spaces, which is more than enough. The 2 employees plan to park in the back, so kind of in between where you see the building to the southeast. And the remainder of the parking will be towards the front of the suite space on the east side of the property, so along that drive aisle. And also, lastly, regarding the vehicles, there will be no vehicles stored outside overnight. So these Volvo and Mack trucks that they have will be stored inside the tenant space only. And the last point is regarding the attendees. For the most part, attendees will be flying in to the site and traveling in groups, like, you know, if it's Uber or shuttles, to get to the space. So the anticipated impacts, even though the definition in the zoning code said that a technical educational facility has a high impact land use, in this case, it's pretty low. There's a regular set of classes, and a low number of people coming in and in many cases carpooling. And visitors will frequent the area, hopefully staying at local hotels and entertainment. And so that concludes the presentation. We have the petitioner here, Scott Behe of Volvo Trucks, and I have the standards ready whenever you're ready.
Okay, Scott, do you have anything to add?
If she said everything I would have to add, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, no worries. I will go to my commissioners for their comments, starting with Commissioner Truxell.
So one question about the trucks that'll be in the facility. Are they both diesel and electric?
Yes,
Okay. The diesel exhaust, is that vented out?
so it's not, we run the trucks very, very little. Usually, maybe 2 times a year, we'll do a quick regen just to run the trucks to make sure that they run. All the training is done hands-on on stand engines.
Oh.
So there's, with the size of the space, we don't need to vent the exhaust.
Thank you. That's my only question, really. It should be a nice addition, so that's it for me.
All right, thanks. Commissioner Shaw.
What was in there before?
It was TSI Flooring Company.
Okay. This looks like a really nice use. I think it'll be a nice addition. As you said, low impact, based on, I mean, even if every single one of those trainees comes in their own vehicle, you're.
Even that is 12 at a time at the very most.
Exactly.
So half of our space.
Yeah.
We just ran some quick numbers. We expect to be somewhere between, close to $500,000 a year of revenue into the city on a given basis based on the number of hotel nights and food and gas stations, et cetera, et cetera. So, and Volvo as a whole, obviously known for our safety, but also known as a very philanthropic organization. We try to be a good partner to the communities we work in as well.
So this is just informational, not really about the space itself, but how many similar facilities like this are around the country?
So in North America, so we have US and Canada, we have 8. We have here in Illinois, we've been in Joliet, moving to here. Atlanta, Georgia, Dallas, Texas, Hayward, California, Allentown, Pennsylvania, the home of Mac. If you're ever there, amazing Mac Museum. Hagerstown, which is the home of where we make all the engines, and then 2 in Canada, 1 in Toronto, 1 in Quebec. And our side note that we're proud of, we're the only manufacturer in North America that makes all of our trucks in the United States.
Oh, nice.
Every Volvo, every back truck that's made for North America is made in the United States.
That's good. Yeah, so I was interested in the number of these type of facilities around the country, and that's a lot, but it's, for your volume, it seems pretty small. So it sounds like you're gonna have a lot of traffic, which is good.
Yeah,
I don't mean
Yeah, and the central.
negative traffic, I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna be able to keep the facility going.
Yes, yeah, so we've been in Joliet for over 10 years, just we've outgrown that space. We've always had 2 trucks with the advent of, and the progression of electric vehicles. We need to be able to house 4 trucks, so that was the need for us to find a bigger space. And this will be our hub for electric truck training we have 1 in California, and then here will be the next main one we can train. So there'll be this will be fairly, for us, heavy traffic.
Excellent, good. No further questions.
I just wanted to piggyback. So what regions will be supported by Illinois? Like, would fly into Illinois versus California, or even if you're up north, maybe Canada is the better option. I don't know.
Yeah, so this region will support really from Texas to the east for Volvo. This will be the only place for at least the next several years that we have a Volvo electric truck that we train on. Then we have California. California's the hotbed right now for us selling electric trucks because of their government subsidies. And then Toronto, Canada will be the furthest east for Volvo trucks. And then we have a Mack training facility in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and here, and then also in California. So we'll get all of Volvo, the vast majority, they can fly to California if they want, but from Texas east and then Mack, pretty much the central part of the country.
Commissioner Gaskell, any comments?
I have nothing to say.
Commissioner Lucido?
No, it's a great addition. That's all I got.
Commissioner Merrick?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay, thank you. I just have a few questions. One, I'm glad that, you know, the special use permit won't run with the land. I think that's a good thing. It sounds like, based on staff's report, there's not gonna be noise or issues with that. We're appreciative that those trucks will be inside. I wanna just get a handle on, so it does sound like everybody's gonna be flying in, so they'll either Uber or most likely rental cars if they're not, you know, adjacent states like Indiana or Wisconsin. I was looking at the submittal to staff, in addition to the staff report, and I just want to make sure I got clarity. It said that, I know your lease allows you for 25 parking spaces, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. It's just, the way it was mentioned is that there were 7 spots on that northeast portion and 3 ADA spots in addition. There are 10 spots directly in front of our Suite G with 3 ADA handicap spots marked, so that's 10, but with 3 ADA. And then there are 2 employee spots in the rear of the building. You also mentioned that you can use an additional 15 available spots, and then ComEd has overflow. So I don't think it's gonna be an issue per se, it's just, without looking at the staff report, or looking at the staff report, it seemed like if you had 10 to 12 plus two teacher, or 6 to 12 plus 2 teachers, you're looking at about 14 spots. I just wanna make sure that math is right.
Yeah, so, I don't know if you can go back to the overhead view of the parking. I think when I initially sent that in, I had, there's one that shows a bunch of cars parked there. Yeah, like that
Oh.
one. So, just outside, there's 10, and then there's a little walkway that goes over to ComEd, and to the left of that walkway, there's another, it's either 9 or 10. So we have right, and basically right in front of the building, we actually have, it's 18 or 19 spaces, plus the 2 in the back is 21, and then the rest are just allotted, so somebody could have to, in theory, park further down towards the end of the building and walk up. But the ComEd space is part of the lease as well. The landlord has an agreement with the ComEd space. There's a walkway right across that they can park and walk straight into the building too. But, yeah, so in Joliet, we've never had more than 10 cars.
Okay. All right, well, and that's, the proof is in the pudding. You may expand a little bit here perhaps, but,
And, because we've made agreements with 3 local hotels, and we're working with a couple more so that everybody can get their points when they travel. But typically, the guys stay in the same hotel, and then they'll just carpool over.
oh, even better, yeah.
So
And I know,
if they drive and have a couple of rental cars, they're all business owners, they're trying to save as much money
right,
as
and
possible.
I think Lori mentioned a shuttle too, so,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. I just wanted to get clarification, because it mentioned 25, then I saw it looked like it was 12,
Yeah.
so,
I think
think there-
immediately in front of the facility, it's the 10, and then there are 9 in the ADAs, and the rest are just a little further down.
Okay.
Those are obviously the second entrance.
Yeah, I think that was more based on, those are the most convenient stalls they'll be parking at, but obviously that site overall has a
Yeah.
quite big parking lot, that's all.
he even mentioned in
You're gonna
his
get a little
submittal,
spillover.
you know, first come, first served for those other 15 spots, and I'm
Yeah.
assuming that, yeah, like
Yeah,
you
it's
said, you
all
may have to
kind
hike, you know, but they'll, okay, be available. Okay, I have no further comments. I too echo what the commissioners have said about, it looks like a good addition to Tinley Park. With that said, if there's no other comments, I'd like to open the public hearing portion of the meeting. We won't reiterate kind of what we've talked about here, but I don't know why I'm hitting that. All those in favor of opening the public hearing, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion is carried. I did receive certification that there was publishing in the newspaper of this public hearing. So, staff, you don't have to be redundant on what we've talked about, but if there's anything more you want to add,
No, could you actually have someone do a motion to open the public hearing, though? I know that's a
Oh,
little,
I'll make a
it's a
motion.
formality.
oh, I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
Okay, so, all those in favor of opening the public hearing, we got the second.
Aye.
Yep, by Commissioner Lushudo, seconded by Commissioner Gaskell, or did I flip that? Sorry, Commissioner Gaskell, seconded by Commissioner Lushudo. No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion is carried. Again, I
Thank you.
received the publication in the newspaper. Is there anything else to add?
No, I'll just say in general for the village, I think we're excited for Volvo to be here. Sometimes it stinks when there's a little bit of a process. We appreciate your cooperation here. I think everybody thinks this will work, but you could also see how if somebody did an educational facility, you could have a lot of things that could be different. If somebody was doing outside truck driving training, if it wasn't, was just, if this was open to the public, there could be issues there. So I think this is a great fit here, though. So we're glad to have them, and thanks for sticking with us through this.
Okay.
Glad to have you open it up soon, hopefully.
Okay. So Scott, any other things to add this time, since it's a public hearing? I'd have to swear you in if you have any other comments. Okay. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item? Okay, seeing none, is there any further comments from the commission?
Nope.
Seeing none?
Nope.
Let's close the public hearing. All those in, could I get a motion to make, to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, a motion made by Commissioner Shaw, seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. Staff, do you want to proceed with the standards?
Thank you. Up on the screen, I have the standards for special use. I'll just run through them quickly. The first regarding public health, safety, general welfare, the facility will have will have safety measures in place. Operations will occur within the tenant space. There will be no operations or training outside of the building, and it will involve a small group of trainees from the dealerships. B, that the special use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property and will not substantially diminish or impair property values in the neighborhood. Staff finds the facility operations will be professional in nature and designed and stoned for industrial operations. C, that the use will not impede normal and orderly development. The building is existing and no changes are proposed to the exterior, will not have a negative effect on the existing surrounding development. Regarding utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities, the building, again, does not have any changes proposed to the exterior and is existing with such utilities. E, that adequate measures have been made to provide ingress and egress. Again, the site layout is already established and adequate to handle the proposed traffic and will not cause increased traffic congestion in or around the site. And then regarding F, the petitioner has stated that they will meet all other village regulations. And then lastly, regarding that the special use will contribute to the economic development of the community as a whole. The facility is expected to benefit the economic development, bringing new jobs, visitors to the community who are anticipated to contribute to local business and tax revenues. That concludes the standards. I have a motion up on screen.
Okay, thanks. At this time, I'll ask for a motion regarding the special use permit for a PUD.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to recommend that the village board grant the petitioner, Scott Behe of Volvo Trucks North America, a special use permit to operate a technical educational facility at 8201 183rd Street, Suite G, in the M1 PUD, General Manufacturing Tinley Crossings Corporate Center zoning district, according to the submitted plans, and adopt the findings of fact as listed in the February 17th, 2022 staff report.
Do we hear a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Shaw, seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. Lori, may I have a roll call?
Commissioner Gaskell.
Yes.
Commissioner Lushudo.
Yes.
Commissioner Merrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw.
Yes.
Commissioner Truxell.
Yes?
Chairman Gray.
Yes. Okay. The motion is carried. So this item will go to the village board on Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. So Scott, if you can get with staff on how to attend. And thanks for your time tonight. Drive safely home.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item number 2. Item number 2.
We'll follow up with you on the board meeting information, so, thanks.
Item number 2 is a public hearing to consider recommending that the village board grant Ramsey Hassan on behalf of Cornerstone Center LLC a special use for a substantial deviation from the Cornerstone Center planned unit development with exceptions from zoning ordinance located at 18201 Harlem Avenue in the B1 Office and Service Zoning District. The granting of this request will allow for site modifications, including the construction of a 525-square-foot building addition with a restaurant patio for RJ's Seafood to the north of the existing building. Site plan and architectural approvals are also required as part of the redevelopment. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Lusciuto, seconded by Commissioner Truxell. All those in favor of opening the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion is carried. I have received the certification of the public hearing notice being published in the local newspaper. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter will be sworn in before they speak, but after the staff's presentation. So staff, at this time, please proceed.
Thank you. Up on screen, I have the proposal that is here presented tonight for RJ Seafood at 18201 on Harlem Avenue. So a review of the existing site and history. This is part of the Cornerstone Center planned unit development, and you can see it here on the northeast corner of Harlem and 183rd. The development is surrounded to the north and east by the Glen Swilly residences, and the development has a high occupancy configuration and load of users. There are currently 3 trash enclosures on the site, and in addition to the subject space, which is out of the 2 long buildings in the development, the subject space is in the northern building at the far north end, as you can see in the photo, formerly the Tin Fish Restaurant. Along with that space is a variety of spaces, AT&T, physical therapy, and numerous restaurant-related and service-related uses. So here's the zoning that I'm showing on the map with B4 and B3. So it's split. This is a PUD dating from 1998, and you'll see that the subject space is in the B4 zoning district, which is, per the zoning code, defined as normally small in size and intended to serve as a buffer or transition between residential and commercial areas, primarily to provide office space for service-type businesses. B4 was designated at the northern building due to its reduced rear yard setback and close proximity to the residences to the north and east. Comparatively, B4 does limit the intensity of use to B3, and so you can see, again, the residences to the north and east along 182nd. So an existing survey was provided. So north is to the left, that's 182nd Street, and the space is the left part of the building, pochade. The 2 of the 3 existing trash enclosures are shown. The one on the upper left, highlighted in dark blue, that is the one of the 3 trash enclosures that is proposed to be removed and where the majority of the site improvements will occur. The trash enclosure to the right, the south of this part of the survey, is one of the 2 remaining trash enclosures. This will be the enclosure where the proposed removal of trash will occur for the subject tenant space. And you can see noted in red is the circulation of the site. Harlem is to the south. The proposed use, so this is a new concept that Francesca's Restaurant Group it would like to establish. Francesca's is well-established, founded in 1992. They have 6 concepts across 23 locations and in 2 states. These include numerous Francesca's restaurants, Davanti Enoteca, Fat Rosie's Tacos and Tequila, DeSoto, Joe's Imports and Facilities. The addition and patios that are proposed will have some other site improvements, including landscaping, lighting, a nanowall, that's an operable partition that will be on the existing building, and as I noted, removing one of the 3 development's trash enclosures. And this is coming for zoning entitlement in addition to the site plan architectural approval. It requires a substantial deviation to the PUD. So some of these exceptions I've noted here, well, the exceptions I've noted here is an increase to building density, changes to the site plan, and reduction in setbacks. So here's the overall site plan for the affected area of the development. And you can see that the property line, which is dashed in, that the setback is reduced from 50 feet to 10 feet to the property line. There'll be loading for this tenant that will occur in the early mornings on the drive aisle in front of the proposed patio space. And staff has reviewed this plan. This was an interdepartmental review. Our village engineer reviewed it, had minor comments, and those were already incorporated. The addition, to be clear, the building is a long rectangular structure. The addition is extending off of part of that north end of the building, and the patio is to the west of that. So these improvements are in place of where that trash enclosure and access to trash enclosure was. Here's a detail that shows a little bit up close. So I just noted in green these numerous planters that will also be on the site. In light brown is fencing that will be installed. The fencing on the left, which is along the north part of the property, we'd like to refer to this as a fence wall. It's 10 feet 2 proposed in height, a privacy style fence, so it's slats that are all connected and will be from the ground up to the top of a trellis structure that'll be 11'3" in height. And the other 2 lines in brown indicate a lower fence that will help surround this banquette area that you see at the bottom, which is the west part of the patio. I've noted in red, following the workshop that we had at last Plan Commission, an additional scope was included. There is a 403 square feet of this concrete walkway. The walkway extends along the north and west parts of the building. It surrounds the pedestrian accessible part of the development, but this northern portion, it's 403 square feet. They'll simply be replacing that concrete to freshen it up and align with the rest of the improvements. The nanowall that I mentioned is on what you see on the lower left of the existing building. And let's see, the square footage, the addition is 525 square feet. The trellised patio area is 1120 square feet, and as I said, the concrete walkway is 403. So I've noted in red any updates to what we had from the workshop. So in addition to the clarification on the square footage, the MWRD determination did come in, and an MWRD permit is not required for scope of this project. So this has helped resolve some of the previous open items we had at the workshop. Importantly, discussing waste management. So one of 3 trash enclosures being removed does have an impact on the site. And staff wanted to ensure that the development would become and remain in compliance. So with the removal of this, the petitioner's team worked in providing this addition that has back-of-house space. They'll have a trash holding area along with a cooler and a point of sale and some ice bins, but this trash holding area will provide a place for employees to put the trash during the day, and then in the evenings, an employee will escort this down the walkway south to the trash enclosure that I noted earlier. So following the workshop and the posting of the staff report, staff had further discussions with the property owners who are present here tonight. And the property owners have noted they have a service agreement with a single waste hauler. This is Homewood Disposal, and this is for the whole Cornerstone Center development. The property is now already in compliance. The receptacles have been reduced, they're shared, they're labeled. There's room for the anticipated grease container that RJ's will have. All of this will be for all of the tenants in the 2 remaining trash enclosures. All tenants are accounted for by the single waste hauler, and the waste hauler has worked out the agreement as such, so the owner of the property will have full control over any service adjustments. The tenants receive individual billing contracts with Homewood. So the working with the tenants from the waste hauler is only for billing. The owner is a contract to, like I said, monitor and adjust the trash service pickups and allocation as needed. So accordingly, staff had noted a few conditions in the proposed motion. The one in blue is been modified from the staff report to reflect these updated items. To be more specific, noting the waste for the development will be serviced by a single waste hauler per single service agreement managed by the owner and hauler. The tenants are permitted to be invoiced separately by the single waste hauler. Importantly, the owner has full control and responsible to make service adjustments. The other conditions, as noted in the staff report, were that the first one is really just to reinforce the code compliance, that all receptacles or dumpsters are to be kept in the enclosures, enclosed and screened. And from the last meeting that we had at the workshop, there was some discussion about the condition of the walkway, as employees will be transporting the trash nightly. So a condition is proposed that path from the trash holding area to the enclosure shall be maintained on a regular basis and clean and free of grease and garbage and any other debris at all times. Because this is, has gone through some discussions since the workshop, this is the only open item remaining for tonight. And then I'll run through the rest of the items as previously discussed. Landscaping. So to the north, 182nd Street. Across 182nd Street are some of the Glen Swilly residences. To help mitigate or buffer any potential noise or disturbances from the proposed use, the applicant is proposing 4 deciduous oak trees that would be between the sidewalk and the patio, and then at the edge of the patio would be the 10-foot-2 privacy wall, so fence wall. So you can see that here in section. The trees are deciduous, by the way, but they do grow up to 45 feet in height. And then here is the landscaping plan. So just some highlights on the site. There are 3 overgrown evergreens that are more towards the northeast in the area that the addition is proposed. So these overgrown evergreens are proposed for removal. The building's addition will have foundational plantings. At the, as the building will be set back only 10 feet, The applicant's proposing a nice row of shrubs and other types of plantings that wrap around the east and north, as it's the rear and very front of the addition. And, you know, there's other, as I said, there were other planters that are in the site. There's also, one other scope of the proposal is proposing 3 large planter boxes further south. You can see noted here on the walkway. So there's some plantings that were proposed in there. Not too much detail on the materiality of the planter boxes, but that is part of the proposal. So at the workshop, there is a concern that if a tenant were to want to remove the wall, the fence wall and landscape, that a condition should be put in place to have these screening and buffering of the wall and landscaping to remain in place while the patio is occupied. Another note, live entertainment was discussed. At this time, the applicant does not propose any live entertainment. If they do, they would need to meet the village's noise ordinance. And then lastly, there was a question on the height of some of the plantings on the addition's west wall between the addition and the patio. These are simply small, very small plantings, Pidgeot dwarf fountain grass that will be set up to 18 inches high in some planter boxes. So here are images that the applicant has provided with that updated clarification on those plantings on the addition wall. And here's the other 2. And then here's the north elevation as one would see from 182nd. And the materials. So for the addition, it's intended to match as close as possible. So to the existing building, which is painted stucco, brick, with the nice cornice, CMU, and there are some decorative stone elements that will also go along with it. So it is proposed to visually align with this, and the Nanowall door partitions will have the same trim as the existing storefront. It's like a reddish brown. And the trellis and the planter boxes will be black. And as noted, those 3 large planters further south of the walkway, that is to be determined. Staff has noted this in a condition that it should be equal or complementary to the existing brick and stone, that any potential additional planters to be in the same style, and that owner approval would be required, and a staff building permit review would also be required for this. Overall, there was positive feedback on the aesthetics and overall design. It's the trellis and the whole patio is complementary to what's existing there, and the addition is similar to a near match to what is existing. So lighting, there is on the trellis, there'll be a series of downlights as well as wall sconces. These will meet code. There foot candles and lack of there'll be no uplighting, and the foot candles will meet the requirements at the property line. And then lastly, signage. They provided this image for a proposed wall sign at the west entry, 40 square feet, dark blue steel letters, illuminated halo lit. The sign will comply with the sign plan and zoning code for the area, or for the development. And this concludes the staff presentation. I have on the phone here from Francesca's, I have Robin Jones, and representing the architects, I have FC Studio, Bob Quellos, and Rachel Crow. And then here in the audience, I have Derek Hassan and Ramzi Hassan for property owners.
Okay, if anybody at this time from the petitioner's team would like to speak, I would have to swear them in. So if anybody from the team would like to speak, if you're on the phone, please identify yourself, and then I'll swear you in. Okay, doesn't sound like anybody from the petitioner wants to speak. That's quite all right. We can move on to the commissioners for their comments, beginning with Commissioner Merrick. Any comments?
Okay, sure. So I wasn't here for the last one, so I didn't, I read through it, but, so I'm interested about the grease traps and the grease barrels, right? So, I used to run restaurants and perhaps one similar to this, which abutted right up against a residential area. And maybe this is part of the consolidation of trash removal, but grease traps and grease barrels were always removed or taken care of by separate people, right? Rather than the major waste management people, and happened on a different schedule. Is that still the case?
Yeah, so for any of the restaurants here, I think they're typically gonna have their own, because you actually get paid for it usually for your used grease. So there is a separate condition requiring those get maintained in the dumpster enclosures as well. But that's just gonna have to be the individual restaurants will have to have their own contract.
Yeah. And then for the outside patio, I'm interested in, so is this a one-season patio or a three-season patio? Is there any possibilities that you're throwing heat lamps out there, partial plastic enclosures in fall and spring, that sort of stuff?
Would anyone from the petitioner's side like to comment on this? Okay. Robin, can you speak up a little?
Yeah, we can
here, we
barely
can-
hear you, but we can hear
I
you.
can hear you.
Robin, I'm going to swear you in then. So Robin Jones, that's your full name?
Robin, I'm going to swear you in.
Sounds like there's a lag. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, proceed.
Okay, you were asking about the enclosure for the patio. So it is a mechanic. The ceiling is mechanical, and so it's louvered, and that can close. We also have ceiling fans and also heating mechanisms built into the patio ceiling. So it will provide us some additional longevity than just using it in the summer. We are hoping to be able to utilize it spring and fall as well.
Awesome. Yeah, and I guess my final question is one about parking. So as my memory of going to Tin Fish was parking could be really difficult. And it's hard to tell from this, but it looks like you may be losing a little bit of that space. Maybe I'm wrong and I can't tell from this stuff, but are there issues around parking? I mean, because you're gonna have more square footage, for example, which means more people in that space.
Yeah, so there's no reduction in parking through this. They're just kind of losing what was essentially the trash area and a little bit of a loading area there. And I think the owners were pretty cognizant of that too. It's tight on parking, sure.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to park further away. They do have shared parking across the whole parcel. It's part of having a little bit denser development, right? Is sometimes it's not kind of like a downtown. You can't necessarily park right in front of where you want to go. But the good news is that for the most part, when those peak hours happen, the physical therapy place, Stacks is closed, the bank is closed. So their peak, they're kind of the only one over there where the other restaurants and the shopping center are all kind of a little closer together.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
we think it'll work out. The owners think so too.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Merrick. Good questions. Commissioner Lucido.
Not just that the conditions placed on the waste management addresses my concerns from the last meeting, so.
Commissioner Gaskell.
I have nothing to say.
Okay, Commissioner Shaw.
I think it was all covered very well at the last meeting, and the modifications made since then to address the open items, I think are adequate and reasonable. So I have nothing further on that.
Okay, Commissioner Truxell.
I agree, it's going to be a nice addition to the village, and all the concerns are addressed, so I have no further questions or concerns at this time.
Okay. I concur too with the commission as well. My big concern was the grease, as Commissioner Lucido mentioned. But it looks like it's going to be a nice add to, and it looked like a nice design, very aesthetically pleasing. So at this time, if there's anyone from the public, seeing none, we'll move on. If there's no further discussions, can I have a motion to close the public hearing at this time?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Truxell, seconded by Commissioner Shaw. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion is carried. Staff, please present the standards at this time.
So the standards that I have up on screen are as shown in the staff report. So for site plan architectural approval, I've highlighted and noted, or bulleted the different elements from building materials to color, compatibility and architecture, screening of mechanicals and trash enclosures. All of these appear to be adequately addressed. And these are also, as in the staff report, with the further detail on those requirements per code. And then for site design, similarly, regarding the loading, any storage, pedestrian access, circulation, are all noted here. And then also for the other element of the zoning entitlement for special use, I've got those items up on screen regarding the health, safety, welfare. The proposed exceptions are safe for the public, employees, and neighboring properties. And regarding the second item on whether it's to ensure that it's not injurious to the use and enjoyment of others, the modifications are more for a restaurant tenant space without any significant changes to the development's overall site plan. The combined screening of the landscape with the fence will help buffer any impacts of the proposed use. Thirdly, that the establishment of this use will not impede on normal and orderly development of surrounded properties. Neighboring properties are already developed here, and this proposal will not negatively affect any future development. And then going on to the remaining of the items, the utilities and access, has already been designated. Regarding draining, MWRD permit is not required. Then the next item about ingress and egress, again, there are no changes to the access on Harlem and 182nd. So the site layout allows for the safe circulation for customers, employees, deliveries, et cetera. And regarding the other village code requirements, these will be met, and dumpsters will be kept in the enclosures. And then lastly, regarding the economic development of the community, the site modifications allow for a more inviting and attractive restaurant space for the public, and the improvements will benefit the current and future tenants. And I have a motion for special use up on screen.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to be made for the special use for a substantial deviation for a PUD.
I make a motion to recommend that the village board grant a special use permit for a substantial deviation with exceptions to the zoning ordinance from the Cornerstone Center PUD to Scott Harris on behalf of RJ Seafood LLC to permit site modifications, including the construction of a building addition and restaurant patio at 18201 Harlem Avenue in the B4 PD Office and Service Businesses Cornerstone Center PUD zoning district in accordance with the plan submitted and adopt findings of fact as proposed in the February 17, 2022 staff report subject to the following conditions. 1, all current and future trash, recycling, and grease containers on the Cornerstone Center development will continue to be fully enclosed in the 2 existing enclosures effective immediately. 2, all waste for the Cornerstone Center development will continue to be serviced by a single waste hauler per a single service agreement managed by the property owner with the waste hauler. Tenants are permitted to be invoiced separately by the single waste hauler. Property owner shall have full control and assume responsibility of waste management on the Cornerstone Center development. Property owner shall monitor waste management and shall make adjustments to service as needed in order to remain in code compliance. 3, the path from the trash holding area to the trash enclosure shall be properly maintained on a regular basis and shall remain clean and free of grease, garbage at all times.
Do I hear a second? Second. Okay, motion made by Commissioner Lasciuto, seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. Lori, may I have a roll call at this time?
Commissioner Gaskell?
Yes.
Commissioner Lasciuto?
Yes.
Commissioner Merrick?
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw?
Yes.
Commissioner Truxell?
Yes.
Chairman Gray?
Yes. Okay, the motion is carried. At this time, I'll ask for a motion number 2 regarding the site plan and architectural approval.
I'll take it. I make a motion to grant Scott Harris on behalf of RJ Seafood LLC final site plan and architectural approval to permit site modifications, including the construction of a building addition and restaurant patio at 18201 Harlem Avenue in the B4 PD Office and Service Business Cornerstone Center PUD zoning district in accordance with the plan submitted as referenced in the February 17th, 2022 staff report and subject to the following conditions. Condition 1, site plan approval is subject to the approval of the special use for a substantial deviation from the PUD by the village board. 2, site plan approval is subject to final engineering and building department approvals. 3, when the patio will be occupied, then the screening of landscaping and fencing are to remain as approved. 4, all current and future trash, recycling, and grease containers on the Cornerstone Center development will continue to be fully enclosed in the 2 existing enclosures effective immediately. 5, all waste for the Cornerstone Center development will continue to be serviced by a single waste hauler per a single service agreement managed by the property owner with the waste hauler. Tenants are permitted to be invoiced separately by the single waste hauler. Property owner shall have full control and assume responsibility of waste management on the Cornerstone Center development. Property owner shall monitor waste management and shall make adjustments to service as needed in order to remain in code compliance. 6, the path from the trash holding area to the trash enclosure shall be properly maintained on a regular basis and shall remain clean and free of grease, garbage at all times. 7, the 3 large walkway planters proposed on the walkway west of the existing tenant space shall be equal or complementary to the existing building's materials, and that potential additional walkway planters in the Cornerstone Center development will be in the same style. These planters will require approval by the property owner and is subject to village staff building permit review and approval, including planning, building, fire, and engineering departments.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Truxell, second by Commissioner Lasciuto. Lori, can I have a roll call?
Commissioner Gaskell?
Yes.
Commissioner Lasciuto?
Yes.
Commissioner Merrick?
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw?
Yes.
Commissioner Truxell?
Yes.
Chairman Gray?
Yes. Okay, the motion is carried. So this, my understanding is this item will go to the village board on Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. Is that correct, staff?
Correct, and we'll be in contact with the petitioner for the village board information and how to attend that. And I don't know if Robin's still on the line or not, or FC Studio, I guess, is the one that, if you're looking, you can submit building permits as well. I know that's been talked about. So in the meantime, you can submit your building permit to expedite any reviews. So feel free to contact Lori if you have any questions.
Okay,
And-
thank,
Yep, and excited to have you guys. I think that's a needed restaurant out there. I know Tin Fish was, a lot of the businesses around there use that for their, like, you know, if you have guests, or I could see Volvo, you know, taking people there. So that'll be a good, I think, addition out there that we've been missing. So glad to have you guys, and hopefully you want to open a second restaurant, you know, maybe we'll work with you on that one too.
thanks and good luck. We'll move on to item number 3, which is a workshop recommendation for the zoning map
You guys take care.
update. Yep, take care. Item number 3 is a workshop recommendation to consider recommending that the village board adopt the village's official zoning map reflecting map amendments through December 31st, 2021. Okay, staff, make your presentation.
Okay, this will be short and sweet. Every year, the village updates the zoning map accordingly based on map amendments from the previous year through December 31st. So staff went through all of the approvals that we had for zoning, and we've proposed the updated map that's here and in the staff report for your review. And the changes that we have are noted in the staff report. Annexations were from Scannell and the Sunset Estates subdivision, the rezonings, DR Horton and Vequity, Brookside Glens, Crana Homes, and Loyola. The subdivisions were Lenny's, Gas and Wash, MedPro, Pete's Market, and Ludkey subdivision. And then lastly, regarding corrections, there were a few corrections. There is an adjustment to showing a missing parcel for Loyola's property. And then for Edenbridge Apartments, they're moving it from the PUD. Some error that we had in the legend, just to read overlay districts, not downtown legacy, and just remove, cleaning up a couple of errant parcel lines. So overall, not too much and pretty straightforward. So that concludes our presentation. If you're okay with this, it will go to the village board March 1st.
Yeah, and if you want, really, this is just for you guys to take a look. There's no rezoning, there's no action formally happening here. It's just if there's a state law that technically doesn't apply to like incorporated municipalities, but I think it's good practice for us to have kind of a date we set to make sure our map's updated, because we don't do it every single time. So if you guys can discuss among yourselves if you have any issues. If not, you could just kind of maybe do a voice vote, and that'll be the recommendation that goes to the board. So.
Okay, well, let's just go to a voice vote if you're okay with the,
Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
I just did want to ask a question. We have a new GIS service partner this past year, don't we?
It's the same consortium that we've had before, but they're using a new system now.
Okay.
That allows a little bit more customization than the other one did. It's also a lot, in the background, a lot better and more consistent. But yes, they changed over from basically the GIS systems they're using, but the same consortium is doing the work.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. I noticed we had a few corrections from things that either dropped off and this and that. Just out of curiosity, whether some of that came out in your data transfer,
Some of it, I know the Edenbridge one, I had corrected that previously, and then it somehow popped back on that it was a PUD. I think that just happened because of the transition. Some stuff kind of dropped off, so we did double check to make sure everything from last year also stayed on there. this year.
Good. Happy to hear you guys are satisfied, and that was a positive move. The only question I have.
no worries. I'm just gonna move to a statement. If you are okay with the zoning map updates as presented in the February 17th, 2022 staff report, say aye. Aye. Nay? Okay, so, all ayes.
Thank you. Yep, and that'll go March 1st to the village board, just to adopt that as a resolution, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good. So at this time, we will move on to the good of the order, staff.
The next meeting is March 3rd. We'll likely, or we do have something on that, that meeting coming up. Dunkin' Donuts already has their permit in, so they moved really quickly from the last meeting, got approved by village board, to kind of do that punch-through, drive-through on 171st and 80th, so, excited to get that going this year. There is, I'll let you say it, 'cause
Yeah. So our village clerk has given us just a heads up that your annual statement of economic interest form will be coming to you commissioners shortly. So the clerk's office will be providing this either by email, or if for some reason some commissioners don't have email, they would get it by USPS. And basically, just be on the lookout for this. There will be a time to file notice, and typically this comes to you in March. She provided to me a note here about the filings, the code filing statement. So I believe the deadline, and, this would be when you receive it, you look at the time to file notice, but I believe it should be by May 1st of each year that you'd need to fill it out. So just make sure you fill it out.
and contact the clerk's office and not us if you have questions, because I have no idea what it's about, so, but the clerk's office can help you. Staffing-wise, we hired a village engineer at the last board meeting, so Colby Zamitis, who was the last village engineer, is now Assistant Public Works Director. So I think he's happy to have somebody in that role. I think the person we hired is coming from Plainfield, so they have municipal experience, and that's really helpful, I think, for having that in-house, especially for residents. If they have questions, if they have drainage issues on their property, we have more staff here in-house that can really work with residents and is looking out for them. So excited to have the village engineer start here, so Colby's not doing that all by himself and being Assistant Public Works Director.
What is the gentleman's name?
I forget.
Okay, no worries.
A little outside of our department, but I should know soon, because I think he starts pretty soon. The management analyst accepted. I think I believe it'll be on the next village board meeting for that appointment and hiring as well. And that'll really, I think, help our department function a little better. I think they'll be able to help us with some even code updates, go to other communities, do some research, analysis, and figure out maybe some policy, zoning code updates, things like that we can do. So we have a lot of work for them already kind of stacked on their desk, and they're not even appointed yet. So excited to have them. I think that's it.
Okay. I'll move on to public comment, seeing no public here. We'll move on to adjourning the meeting. May I have a motion to close the public meeting?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Gaskell, seconded by Commissioner Shaw. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carried. Okay, meeting ends, adjourned at 8:08 PM.